My name's Ben Uffindell, and Christchurch is my home. I love my city, and not just because of this thriving business district, but also because it's fucked. The whole thing's fucked. This is fucked. This is fucked. That's fucked. Fucked. Totally fucked. That's fucked too. This is fucked. Or is it art? Fucked. Terrible. Disaster. But are we to believe that all this damage is caused by the ground? Or are we being lied to by our government, our corporations, and our former sports people? While most of us accept the official story about the Christchurch earthquakes, some people believe otherwise. They believe that a US government project called the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program, or HAARP, is capable of controlling the weather and causing man-made earthquakes. To learn more about this, I spoke to one of New Zealand's leading conspiratorialists, Vinnie Eastwood. To make sure Vinnie was a real conspiratorialist, I put him to the test. Who shot JFK?
There were 17 bullets just in the road alone.
Did we go to the moon?
Not at the time that we said, especially after Stanley Kubrick's daughter came out and said that we didn't.
9/11.
I don't believe American government. I think that there's a military and industrial complex that is supranational in nature that coordinates international attacks.
Elvis. Alive or dead?
Elvis? I don't know. I reckon he's dead.
Chemtrails.
Absolutely real, and they're tied into HAARP as well, because if you spray particulates in the atmosphere is more susceptible to being manipulated by a whole bunch of microwave radiation.
Was Princess Diana's death an accident?
No, absolutely not, because when Princess Diana went from her hotel to the location that she was going to, there were 14 separate security cameras that covered her journey. All 14 of them simultaneously failed for some reason, which is statistically impossible.
Did Paul McCartney die in the 60s, and was he replaced?
Very shortly after his alleged death, they held a Paul McCartney lookalike competition, and that's like a real big red flag.
What about the theory that Roger Douglas is still alive?
Roger Douglas? Did he die, did he? Allegedly?
Vinnie scored impressively on my test, though notably let me down by not believing in the nutbar conspiracy that Roger Douglas is still alive. What is HAARP?
High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. It is a very energy-sucking device to create volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and tsunamis.
Did HAARP cause the Christchurch earthquake?
There was a number of HAARP-related signs. Lights seen in the sky. When you've got the huge amount of microwave radiation in the sky there, it can actually set parts of the atmosphere on fire. There were 40 public reports that I think it was reported in the New Zealand Herald about sonic booms that they heard coming through the sky. Just the fact that there was 1,000 sailors with a ship full of supplies doing disaster relief drills on that exact day that the Christchurch earthquake happened in Littleton Harbour.
But if you collect enough information, can't you draw connections between anything and create any kind of conspiracy theory you want?
There are things that are congruent, there are things that create patterns, and there are things like documents and evidence that actually need to be put into case. So the assertion that you can make up anything and then find facts to prove it, technically anybody can lie, but only evidence can show you the truth.
I wondered just how easy it would be to make up my own nutbar conspiracy theory about the Christchurch earthquakes, simply by piecing together relevant information from the internet. So I did it. 13 October 2007. Former host of This Is Your Life, Bob Parker, mysteriously wins the Christchurch mayoral election, despite receiving just 47,000 votes. Parker is a close ally of then opposition leader and soon-to-be Prime Minister John Key. 26 March 2008. Stephen Fleming, captain of the Black Caps, retires from international cricket and begins selling heat pumps for Japanese multinational Fujitsu. 4 September 2010. Christchurch is rocked by a magnitude 7.1 earthquake that causes widespread devastation and knocks down more than 90% of the city's chimneys. What do these three events have in common? And what could they tell us about what really happened that fateful day?
The official story, told to us by the government, is that the Earth's crust is made up of a series of plates which rub against one another, causing friction. This friction is eventually released, resulting in an earthquake.
But where are these plates? And why can't we see them? According to geologists, we just have to believe they're there. But what if instead of using our ears to listen to the experts, we use our brains to think for ourselves? Prime Minister John Key is friends with Stephen Fleming, with whom he has appeared in multiple pictures, some of them not even photoshopped. Fleming is a well-known mascot for Fujitsu and earns potentially millions of dollars from promoting their brand. After the Christchurch earthquakes, John Key and Stephen Fleming teamed up to hold a charity cricket match in Wellington's Basin Reserve in aid of the Christchurch rebuild. At first glance, this appears to be a charitable gesture towards the people of Canterbury. On second glance, the same thing. But if you reverse the footage, it appears that the bowler is running backwards. It's here, in this video, that we find this, the smoking gun. A donation from Fujitsu, personally sanctioned by the Prime Minister and Stephen Fleming, of $100,000 towards the Christchurch rebuild. But why? Why would Fujitsu invest such a ludicrous sum of money in the rebuild of a foreign city? And why are Key and Fleming so happy in the face of such a disaster?
I want to welcome Prime Minister Key to the Oval Office.
Could Key, with his strong relationship with the US government, have conspired with Fleming to use HARP to rake in lucrative heat pump dollars by destroying the city's chimneys and fireplaces? Not convinced yet? It goes deeper. Fleming wasn't the only prominent sportsperson to be involved in the heat pump industry around the time of the earthquakes. In fact, it was just shortly after them that underwear merchant Dan Carter got his own sticky fingers into the heat pump pie, cutting this unsettling advertisement for Daikin. When Richie McCaw retired, he began appearing in advertisements for Westpac, a bank that has a close financial relationship with Fujitsu and whose Christchurch offices are literally next door to one another. Also, here's a picture of John Key with a Japanese person. What is the one thing that Fleming, Carter and McCaw have in common? They're all friends with John Key, who can be seen in this shocking video, twice admitting that the Christchurch earthquakes were man-made.
So, as a natural disaster in a developed countries, so if there's a if there's a natural disaster like an earthquake,
I decided to put my homebrew conspiracy theory to Vinny to see if he thought I was onto something.
You're certainly not onto nothing, Bo. Wasn't it Mayor Bob Parker who was trying to actually get rid of all the chimneys in Christchurch? Whenever you're looking at large amounts of money, very, very rarely is everything above board and everything disclosed to the public. So I would say follow the money and you'll find your answer. After a disaster happens, whether it's man-made or not, the people who come in to quote-unquote help you often wind up restructuring the society in their own way that they want it. And since then, and I found this was quite a really scary sort of thing, ECANs got dissolved, unelected officials started coming in. $25 billion worth of damage themselves because the government has a large shareholding in Fletcher Construction. There is a lot of money to be made.
Let me just stop you there. This is fucked.